Corruption is a widespread problem that negatively impacts global economies. It exacerbates inequality on a global scale. The 2024 Corruption Perceptions Index indicates that most countries struggle with corruption. These low scores suggest that systemic corruption is a common issue worldwide. This episode examines corruption in the most populous nations across different continents. The focus is on demonstrating the diverse ways corruption manifests globally. It also highlights the worldwide consequences of these corrupt practices. Understanding these issues is crucial due to their far-reaching impacts. India, with a population of 1.46 billion, faces significant corruption challenges. India's Corruption Perception Index, CPI, score is 38. This score places India below the global average in perceived corruption levels. The CPI score indicates persistent corruption issues within the country. Unchecked corruption in India poses a significant threat to its economic stability. It is estimated that corruption could potentially cost India up to 37% of its GDP by 2030. This represents a substantial economic loss when calculated on a per-person basis. Therefore, addressing corruption is crucial for sustaining India's economic growth and prosperity. Corruption in India manifests in various forms. Petty bribes are often required for accessing basic services. Grand corruption involves inflated contracts and illicit enrichment. Nepotism, or favoritism towards relatives, is another form of corruption. These corrupt practices undermine fair governance and economic development. Corruption in India is influenced by a combination of factors. Excessive regulation creates opportunities for bribery and rent-seeking. High taxes can incentivize tax evasion, fostering corruption. A historical legacy of patronage contributes to a culture of favoritism and corruption. The 2011 Commonwealth Games scandal exemplifies large-scale corruption in Asia. Billions of dollars were illicitly diverted through inflated contracts. This corruption undermined the integrity of the games. The scandal highlights the potential for corruption in major sporting events. Bureaucratic corruption involves abuse of public office for private gain. This can manifest as bribery, extortion, or embezzlement by government officials. The example highlights an IAS officer accepting a bribe in 2025. The IAS, Indian Administrative Service, is a key part of India's bureaucracy. This incident underscores the persistent challenge of corruption within bureaucratic systems. Such actions undermine public trust and hinder effective governance. Corruption in India significantly hinders economic growth. It exacerbates inequality among different segments of society. Corruption erodes public trust in governmental institutions. A considerable portion of Indian citizens report paying bribes. These factors collectively undermine India's socio-economic progress. India has initiated several reforms to combat corruption. The Digital India Initiative aims to increase transparency and reduce opportunities for bribery. The Lokpal Act is intended to establish an independent anti-corruption ombudsman. These reforms are designed to enhance accountability and integrity in governance. However, the effective enforcement of these measures remains a significant challenge. Weak enforcement can undermine the potential impact of anti-corruption legislation. Youth-led movements in India are actively pushing for societal change. These movements often focus on advocating for anti-corruption measures. The effectiveness of these measures hinges on sustained political will. Political will is crucial for implementing and enforcing anti-corruption policies. Without strong political support, youth-led initiatives may face significant obstacles. Therefore, collaborative efforts between youth movements and political entities are essential. Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa, with a population of 223 million. Nigeria's Corruption Perception Index, CPI, score is 26. A CPI score of 26 indicates widespread corruption within the country. The CPI is a global index that measures the perceived levels of public sector corruption. The index ranges from 0 highly corrupt to 100 very clean. Nigeria's score reflects significant challenges in combating corruption. Since its independence, corruption has significantly impacted Nigeria's economy. The estimated cost of corruption in Nigeria is $400 billion. This financial loss could potentially amount to 37% of Nigeria's GDP by 2030. Corruption poses a substantial threat to Nigeria's economic stability and growth. Corruption in Nigeria manifests in various forms. It includes large-scale theft perpetrated by elites. Petty bribery is also a common occurrence. These bribes are often demanded by police officers. Corruption extends into the judiciary system as well. These corrupt practices undermine the rule of law and economic development. Nigeria faces high levels of corruption due to several key factors. The resource curse associated with oil wealth is a significant contributor. Weak institutional structures exacerbate the problem. Clientelism, a system of exchanging goods and services for political support, further fuels corruption. Surveys conducted in Nigeria in 2025 reveal widespread public perception of endemic corruption. A significant majority of Nigerians believe that corruption is a pervasive issue within the country. The Nigerian police force is specifically identified as an institution with high levels of corruption. This perception highlights a critical challenge for governance and law enforcement in Nigeria. Corruption in Nigeria exacerbates poverty, leading to widespread economic hardship. It also fuels insecurity, contributing to instability and conflict within the country. Corruption is a significant factor in the ongoing food crises affecting Nigeria. Millions of Nigerians face food insecurity as a direct consequence of corrupt practices. These combined effects of corruption undermine the well-being and stability of Nigerian society. Nigeria is actively pursuing anti-corruption reforms through the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Various projects are being implemented to promote positive social norms and ethical conduct. These initiatives aim to empower role models who demonstrate integrity and accountability. However, impunity remains a significant obstacle to fully realizing the goals of anti-corruption efforts. Surveys indicate a prevailing sense of resignation among Nigerian citizens. This resignation stems from the ongoing challenges of corruption within the country. Despite this feeling, there remains a strong desire for action against corruption. Citizens express a continued hope for measures to combat corruption. This highlights a complex interplay between resignation and a persistent demand for change. Russia is the most populous country in Europe, with 144 million people. Russia has a CPI score of 22. This CPI score represents Russia's worst ranking in recent years. The CPI score indicates a high level of perceived corruption. This low score reflects potential issues with transparency and integrity. Corruption in Russia is a widespread and deeply ingrained problem. This systemic corruption results in significant financial losses, costing billions. The scale of corruption poses a major threat to the stability of the Russian regime. Some observers consider corruption to be the regime's most significant challenge. The pervasive nature of corruption undermines economic development and public trust. Corruption in Russia manifests in various forms across different sectors. Bribery is a common method of corruption within law enforcement agencies. The healthcare system is also susceptible to corrupt practices, including bribery. Procurement processes are vulnerable to corruption, leading to misuse of funds. War-related schemes are another area where corruption is prevalent. These schemes often involve the misappropriation of resources intended for military purposes. Corruption in Russia is influenced by several factors. A weak rule of law creates opportunities for corruption. The influence of Siloviki clans contributes to corrupt practices. Post-Soviet inequality exacerbates corruption in Russia. In 2025, arrests of officials occurred in Russia, These arrests may be interpreted as purges within the government. However, critics argue that these anti-corruption actions are selective. The selectivity implies that not all instances of corruption are being addressed. This raises questions about the true motives behind the arrests. The arrests may be politically motivated, rather than purely aimed at combating corruption. Corruption impedes economic growth within Russia. It bolsters autocratic governance, undermining democratic processes. Corruption provides financial resources that enable wars and conflicts. These factors collectively contribute to increasing public dissatisfaction. Anti-graft initiatives are present in Europe. However, the repression of NGOs limits their effectiveness. This repression silences critical voices that could strengthen anti-corruption efforts. The limitation of NGO activities hinders transparency and accountability. Therefore, the impact of anti-graft measures is weakened by restrictions on civil society. The United States has a population of 347 million people. The United States received a score of 65 on the Corruption Perception Index, CPI. This CPI score is the lowest for the United States since 2012. The ranking of the United States is below many of its peer nations based on the CPI. Corruption in the United States manifests in several forms. Lobbying practices can be a conduit for corruption. Irregularities in campaign finance represent another avenue for corruption. Judicial bribes constitute a direct form of corruption. These examples highlight key areas where corruption can occur within the U.S. Addressing these issues is crucial for maintaining integrity in governance and legal systems. Corruption in the U.S. is influenced by several key factors. Political polarization contributes to an environment that is conducive to corruption. Illicit finance, including money laundering, plays a significant role. The aftermath of the 2024 elections has also exacerbated corrupt practices. These elements collectively undermine ethical governance and transparency. In 2025, instances of corruption came to light in the United States. These cases involved officials being expelled from their positions. The reason for their expulsion was the acceptance of bribes. A notable segment of the public recognized corruption as a significant threat. This perception highlights the severity and impact of corruption on public trust. Corruption undermines the foundations of democratic institutions within the United States. This erosion of democratic processes can lead to a decline in public trust and governmental legitimacy. Corruption facilitates and exacerbates existing inequalities across various sectors of society. Increased inequality, driven by corruption, can lead to widespread social discontent. Social unrest often manifests as protests, particularly among younger generations who feel disenfranchised. Therefore, corruption indirectly fuels social instability and challenges the existing social order. The Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, FCPA, is a key anti-corruption measure in the U.S. The FCPA is designed to combat bribery of foreign officials. It aims to prevent U.S. companies from engaging in corrupt practices abroad. However, enforcement of the FCPA has seen fluctuations over time. Policy shifts during the Trump administration led to a weakening of FCPA enforcement. This shift potentially reduced scrutiny and prosecution of international corruption cases. Brazil, a South American country, has a population of approximately 216 million people. The Corruption Perception Index, CPI, score for Brazil is 34. This CPI score indicates a perceived level of corruption in the country's public sector. A score of 34 suggests that corruption is perceived to be a significant issue in Brazil. The decline in the score is attributed to impunity, which exacerbates corruption. Corruption in Brazil manifests in various forms. Bribery is a common issue, particularly within procurement processes. This involves offering or accepting undue rewards to influence decisions. Judicial corruption also poses a significant challenge. This undermines the integrity and impartiality of the legal system. Corruption in Brazil is influenced by its political structures. Coalition politics is one factor contributing to corruption. Clientelism also contributes to the prevalence of corruption. Coalition politics and clientelism are significant factors. These factors contribute to corruption in Brazil. Operation Car Wash's repercussions are still being felt in Brazil. A significant portion of the Brazilian population perceives the government as corrupt. This perception is a direct consequence of the revelations from Operation Car Wash. The operation exposed widespread corruption within the government and various sectors. This has led to a decline in public trust and confidence in governmental institutions. The ongoing fallout continues to shape the political landscape in Brazil. Corruption in Brazil has significant negative consequences. One major impact is economic stagnation, hindering growth and development. Corruption diverts resources away from productive investments. It also contributes to the rise of environmental crime. This includes illegal logging, mining, and deforestation activities. Brazil has implemented the Clean Companies Act to combat corruption. The Clean Companies Act aims to promote ethical business practices. This law targets companies involved in corrupt activities. However, the enforcement of the Clean Companies Act faces inconsistencies. Inconsistent enforcement undermines the law's effectiveness. Further efforts are needed to ensure consistent application of anti-corruption measures. Australia has a population of 26 million people. Australia's Corruption Perception Index, CPI, score is 77. This score reflects the perceived levels of public sector corruption. A score of 77 places Australia among the top 10 least corrupt nations globally. This indicates a relatively high level of integrity and transparency in Australia's public sector. Corruption in Australia manifests in various forms. These forms include petty issues within the judiciary. Corruption can also be found in procurement processes. These issues can undermine public trust. Addressing these issues is essential for maintaining integrity. Transparency and accountability are key to combating corruption. In 2025, the National Anti-Corruption Commission, NACC, investigated several corruption cases in Australia. These cases brought specific instances of corruption to light. The NACC's investigations aim to uncover and address corrupt practices. The investigations highlight the importance of anti-corruption efforts. The findings of these investigations may lead to legal actions. These cases contribute to the ongoing efforts to promote transparency and integrity in Australia. Corruption risks in Australia are influenced by multiple factors. Inconsistent laws across different jurisdictions can create loopholes. These inconsistencies may be exploited for illicit activities. Foreign influence in various sectors also poses a corruption risk. This influence can potentially compromise transparency and integrity. Addressing these issues is crucial for maintaining public trust and governance. Corruption erodes public trust in government and institutions. Even a low level of corruption can have significant negative effects. Australia experiences relatively low levels of corruption compared to some other nations. However, vigilance and preventative measures are still essential. Maintaining integrity in public life is crucial for societal well-being. The NACC conducted several investigations in Australia during 2025. These investigations primarily focused on preventing corruption. The NACC's work aims to uphold integrity in public administration. The investigations seek to identify and address potential vulnerabilities to corruption. Antarctica is governed by the Antarctic Treaty System, ATS. The ATS involves 58 nations in collaborative governance. Antarctica has no permanent population. No single country has sovereignty over Antarctica. Antarctica lacks a Corruption Perceptions Index, CPI score. This absence is due to Antarctica's distinctive governance framework. Unlike sovereign nations, Antarctica is governed by an international treaty system. This treaty system focuses on scientific research and environmental protection. The unique governance structure makes applying a standard CPI assessment difficult. Antarctica faces potential corruption risks within its research stations. One identified risk is the potential misuse of funds allocated to research activities. Concerns also exist regarding dual-use technology present in these stations. Dual-use technology can be exploited for purposes beyond scientific research. Antarctica's isolated environment can lead to significant stress among personnel. This isolation-induced stress can potentially escalate into instances of violence. The opacity of funding mechanisms in Antarctic operations creates opportunities for corruption. Lack of transparency in financial matters increases the risk of mismanagement and illicit activities. Both isolation and funding opacity are key factors contributing to corruption risks in Antarctica. Research activities in Antarctica are reportedly declining. This decline occurs amidst growing concerns about climate change impacts. Simultaneously, China is expanding its presence and activities in the region. These expansions are raising suspicions among some observers. The combination of declining research and increasing Chinese activity warrants scrutiny. Potential implications for environmental monitoring and geopolitical balance are being considered. Antarctica faces unique corruption risks due to its remote location and international governance. These risks can undermine the scientific peace that is crucial for Antarctic research. Corruption can lead to mismanagement of resources allocated for scientific projects. Environmental risks are heightened, as corrupt practices may disregard protective measures. Therefore, addressing corruption is vital for preserving Antarctica's scientific integrity and environment. Addressing corruption risks in Antarctica requires enhanced transparency measures. Strengthening the Antarctic Treaty System, ATS, is crucial for achieving this transparency. Increased transparency can deter potential illicit activities. Robust monitoring and verification mechanisms are essential components. International cooperation plays a vital role in upholding transparency standards. Implementing these solutions ensures the integrity of Antarctic governance. Corruption is not confined to specific regions or cultures. It demonstrates the ability to adapt to diverse environments. This adaptability spans a wide geographical range. Examples include regions as varied as India and Antarctica. This suggests corruption's resilience and capacity to persist under different conditions. Effective strategies are crucial in the global fight against corruption. Transparency is a key element in preventing corrupt practices. Transparency ensures openness and accountability in governance. Youth engagement is vital for fostering a culture of integrity. Engaging young people promotes ethical leadership and innovation. Global cooperation enhances the effectiveness of anti-corruption efforts. Corruption in India significantly affects small businesses. Small businesses often encounter demands for bribes. These bribes are frequently required to secure necessary licenses. Bribes are also demanded for obtaining permits. Such corrupt practices hinder the growth of small businesses. Corruption reduces the overall competitiveness of small businesses in the Indian market. The Digital India Initiative is designed to transform India into a digitally empowered society. A key objective is to enhance government service accessibility through digitization. Digitization aims to create more transparent and efficient processes. This initiative seeks to reduce corruption by minimizing opportunities for bribery. By making services online, accountability and traceability are improved. Ultimately, Digital India strives to improve governance and citizen engagement through technology. The Lokpal Act aims to address corruption allegations against public officials in India. The Act is designed to ensure accountability and transparency in governance. However, the implementation of the Lokpal Act faces significant hurdles. Enforcement of the Act's provisions has also proven challenging. These challenges impede the Act's effectiveness in combating corruption. Nigeria's oil sector faces significant challenges due to widespread corruption. This corruption leads to substantial revenue losses for the country. Mismanagement of funds is a key factor contributing to these losses. Theft of oil resources further exacerbates the financial drain. Opaque deals within the sector facilitate corrupt practices. These issues collectively undermine the potential benefits of Nigeria's oil wealth. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is responsible for investigating financial crimes in Nigeria. The EFCC is also tasked with prosecuting individuals and entities involved in corruption. A primary goal of the EFCC is to combat economic and financial crimes within the country. Political interference can significantly hinder the EFCC's effectiveness. Resource constraints also limit the EFCC's ability to fully carry out its mandate. These challenges impact the EFCC's capacity to investigate and prosecute corruption cases effectively. Corruption within Nigeria's education sector significantly degrades the quality of learning. This corruption manifests in the form of inadequate infrastructure and resources. It also results in the prevalence of unqualified teachers and educators. The fraudulent sale of fake academic degrees further undermines educational integrity. Corruption in the Russian healthcare system manifests through bribery and embezzlement. These illicit activities lead to a shortage of essential medical supplies. Patients often experience extended waiting times for treatment and procedures. Ultimately, corruption contributes to a decline in the overall quality of healthcare services provided. Siloviki clans consist of former security and intelligence officials in Russia. These clans wield significant influence within the Russian system. Their influence contributes to corruption by shielding corrupt individuals. Siloviki clans also protect businesses engaged in corrupt practices. Corruption significantly impacts infrastructure projects in Russia. One major consequence is the artificial inflation of project costs. Corruption often results in the use of substandard materials and construction practices. These projects are frequently plagued by significant delays. The combination of these factors severely hinders overall economic development. These issues undermine the potential benefits of infrastructure investment. Lobbying and campaign finance significantly impact political decisions in the United States. This influence raises concerns about potential corruption within the political system. Special interests may exert undue influence through lobbying and campaign contributions. This can lead to policies that favor specific groups rather than the general public. The integrity and fairness of political processes are challenged by these financial influences. The United States is a significant center for illicit financial activities. Regulatory weaknesses facilitate money laundering by corrupt individuals and entities. These loopholes enable the flow of illicit funds within the country. This situation poses challenges to financial integrity and law enforcement efforts. Corruption undermines the public's confidence in governmental bodies and officials. This erosion of trust leads to increased cynicism among citizens regarding political activities. Cynicism fosters disengagement from the political process. Reduced participation weakens the foundation of a democratic society. Therefore, corruption poses a significant threat to the integrity and effectiveness of governance in the United States. Corruption in public procurement involves bribery and bid rigging. These illegal activities lead to inflated prices for goods and services. The quality of procured goods and services is often compromised. Ultimately, corruption results in the inefficient use of taxpayer money. This undermines public trust and hinders economic development. Operation Car Wash was a major investigation in Brazil. It revealed extensive corruption among politicians and businesses. The operation aimed to combat systemic corruption. However, its impact has been constrained by political interference. Legal challenges have also limited the operation's scope. These factors have reduced the overall effectiveness of Operation Car Wash. Corruption in Brazil undermines environmental protection initiatives. This leads to an increase in illegal deforestation activities. Illegal mining operations are also facilitated by corrupt practices. Other environmental crimes are enabled, further damaging Brazil's natural resources. Corruption in procurement involves unethical or illegal practices during the acquisition of goods and services. Bid rigging is a common form of corruption where bidders collude to manipulate the outcome of a tender. Conflicts of interest arise when personal interests compromise impartial decision-making. These corrupt practices lead to inflated costs for government projects and services. Corruption reduces the value for money obtained from public funds. Ultimately, corruption undermines the integrity and efficiency of procurement processes. Foreign influence in Australia's political and business sectors is a growing concern. This influence raises the risk of corruption within key institutions. It can also lead to undue influence on policy decisions at various levels. Such influence may compromise the integrity and impartiality of governance. Corruption can have a disproportionately negative impact on Indigenous communities. Resources allocated for the benefit of Indigenous communities may be diverted. These resources can also be misused due to corrupt practices. This diversion and misuse hinder community development and well-being. Potential misuse of funds allocated for Antarctic scientific research raises concerns. This misuse can affect various infrastructure projects planned for the region. Accountability in the allocation and spending of research funds is crucial. Transparency is essential to ensure funds are used appropriately for their intended purposes. Dual-use technology refers to technology applicable for both peaceful and military purposes. The dual nature of such technology introduces the risk of misuse. This misuse can potentially lead to security threats in Antarctica. Concerns arise regarding the enforcement of peaceful use provisions. Monitoring and verification mechanisms are crucial to prevent military applications. Corruption poses a threat to the integrity of scientific research in Antarctica. It can lead to the manipulation or falsification of research data. Corruption results in the inefficient allocation and potential waste of valuable resources. This undermines the credibility and reliability of scientific findings. Ultimately, corruption hinders the advancement of knowledge and understanding of Antarctica. E-governance projects in India aim to improve governance through technology. Automation of processes is a key strategy in these initiatives. Increased transparency is another primary goal. These efforts are designed to reduce corruption within government operations. Successful projects demonstrate the positive impact of e-governance on accountability. Protecting whistleblowers is crucial in the fight against corruption. Whistleblowers risk their careers and safety to report wrongdoing. Effective legal frameworks are needed to ensure their protection. India faces challenges in providing adequate whistleblower protection. Community-based initiatives in Nigeria actively combat corruption at the grassroots level. These initiatives utilize education to raise awareness about the detrimental effects of corruption. Awareness campaigns inform citizens about their rights and the mechanisms for reporting corruption. Monitoring public services ensures accountability and transparency in service delivery. Judicial independence is crucial for upholding the rule of law and ensuring fair trials. Reforms are needed to strengthen the judiciary's autonomy from political and economic influence. Reducing corruption within the judiciary is essential for maintaining public trust. Increased transparency and accountability mechanisms can help combat corruption. Protecting judges from intimidation and coercion is vital for impartial decision-making. Adequate funding and resources are necessary to support an independent and effective judiciary. Civil society organizations, CSOs, play a role in monitoring corruption in Russia. These organizations also advocate for reforms to combat corruption. However, CSOs in Russia often face repression from the government. This repression can hinder their ability to effectively monitor and advocate. Despite the challenges, CSOs continue to operate and push for greater transparency and accountability. International sanctions are employed to curb corruption and illicit financial flows. These sanctions target individuals and entities involved in corrupt practices. The goal is to limit access to international financial systems. Sanctions aim to disrupt the flow of illicit funds. Asset freezes and travel bans are common measures. The effectiveness of sanctions in curbing corruption is continuously evaluated. campaign finance reform aims to decrease the impact of money on political processes. Proposals aim to establish a more fair environment for political involvement. The reforms target the methods of campaign funding. The goal is to promote a fairer and more representative political system. There is a recognized need to strengthen ethics regulations for government officials in the United States. Strengthening ethics regulations aims to promote higher standards of conduct among government officials. Increased accountability is a key goal of these strengthened ethics regulations. These changes seek to ensure public trust and integrity in government operations. Corporate accountability involves holding companies responsible for their actions and impacts. This includes addressing corrupt practices within the corporate structure. Effective compliance programs are essential for preventing and detecting corruption. Companies should implement measures to ensure ethical conduct at all levels. Accountability mechanisms promote transparency and build public trust. Holding companies accountable contributes to a fairer and more sustainable business environment in Brazil. Brazil promotes citizen participation in monitoring government spending. These initiatives aim to enhance government transparency and accountability. Citizens are empowered to scrutinize financial transactions and budget allocations. This oversight helps in holding officials accountable for their financial decisions. Independent anti-corruption agencies play a crucial role in Australia's integrity framework. These agencies are tasked with investigating allegations of corruption within the public sector. Their independence ensures impartiality and objectivity in their investigations. They have the power to compel witnesses and gather evidence to uncover corrupt conduct. These agencies can refer cases for prosecution when sufficient evidence of corruption is found. By investigating and prosecuting corruption, they promote transparency and accountability in government. Lobbying regulations in Australia are under scrutiny for potential reforms. The core issue is the need for increased transparency in lobbying activities. Stricter regulations aim to prevent undue influence on political decision-making. This includes monitoring interactions between lobbyists and government officials. The goal is to ensure fair representation and public trust in governance. International cooperation is crucial for Antarctic governance. It promotes transparency in research and activities. Cooperation ensures accountability among nations operating in Antarctica. This collaboration helps maintain the continent's protected status. Shared efforts support peaceful and sustainable practices on the continent. Antarctica's unique environment requires stringent monitoring to prevent environmental damage. Robust monitoring helps detect and deter corruption related to resource exploitation. Effective oversight is crucial for preventing environmental crimes in this vulnerable region. Comprehensive monitoring ensures the preservation of Antarctica's pristine ecosystem. Public awareness campaigns in India aim to educate citizens about their fundamental rights. These campaigns also provide information on how to effectively report instances of corruption. The focus is on empowering citizens to actively participate in combating corruption. Successful campaigns showcase the positive impact of citizen involvement and reporting. Ethical leadership in government and business is crucial for building a culture of integrity in India. Promoting ethical leadership involves establishing clear codes of conduct and ethical guidelines. It also requires implementing robust mechanisms for accountability and transparency. Leaders must demonstrate ethical behavior and decision-making to set a positive example. Training programs can enhance ethical awareness and equip leaders with the skills to navigate ethical dilemmas. Fostering ethical leadership can lead to increased public trust, improved governance, and sustainable economic development. Women play a crucial role in combating corruption in Nigeria. Empowering women can lead to improved governance and transparency. Increased female participation in leadership positions fosters accountability. Women's involvement and decision-making process promotes ethical conduct. Supporting women's initiatives strengthens anti-corruption efforts. Promoting gender equality is essential for sustainable development and good governance. Internal controls in Nigerian government agencies require significant strengthening Stronger controls are essential to prevent corruption within these agencies. Improved internal controls can also curb the mismanagement of public funds. This strengthening is crucial for ensuring transparency and accountability. Effective controls promote responsible governance and resource allocation. Media freedom is crucial for uncovering corruption within Russia. Independent media outlets can investigate and report on corrupt practices. This reporting informs the public about abuses of power and illicit activities. Media scrutiny helps hold Russian officials accountable for their actions. Exposing corruption can lead to investigations and potential legal consequences. Limited media freedom hinders the fight against corruption in Russia. Asset recovery focuses on retrieving assets acquired through corruption. These efforts aim to return the stolen assets to the Russian people. Recovering assets involves legal and international cooperation. The process seeks to restore justice and public trust. Strengthening whistleblower protection laws is essential in the United States. Robust protection encourages individuals to report instances of corruption. This, in turn, promotes greater transparency and accountability. Effective whistleblower laws are vital for detecting and preventing misconduct. Transparency in government contracting is crucial for preventing corruption. It also helps to minimize waste of public funds. Open contracting processes ensure accountability in the use of taxpayer money. Increased transparency can lead to better value for money in government projects. Promoting transparency fosters public trust in government operations. Regulatory agencies in Brazil play a critical role in upholding laws and regulations. A key function is preventing corruption through oversight and enforcement mechanisms. These agencies ensure compliance across various sectors, promoting transparency and accountability. Strengthening these agencies is vital for fostering a fair and ethical business environment. Effective regulation helps to build public trust and attract foreign investment. Robust regulatory frameworks contribute to sustainable economic development in Brazil. Social accountability is crucial for effective governance and citizen empowerment. Citizen oversight involves the public's active monitoring of government actions. This monitoring ensures transparency and holds government accountable for its activities. Promoting social accountability enhances public trust in government institutions. It also fosters a more responsive and responsible government committed to serving its citizens. Australia faces the challenge of ensuring public officials act impartially and ethically. Strengthening conflict of interest laws is crucial to maintaining public trust. These laws aim to prevent officials from exploiting their positions for personal enrichment. Enhanced regulations can promote transparency and accountability in government. Robust enforcement mechanisms are needed to deter and penalize violations effectively. Promoting ethical behavior in government and business is crucial for fostering integrity in Australia. Ethical conduct ensures transparency and accountability in governmental operations. In business, ethical practices build trust with consumers and stakeholders. A culture of integrity reduces corruption and enhances public confidence. Australia benefits from stronger economic stability and social cohesion through ethical governance. Antarctica's unique environnement nécessitate stringe régulation. Strengthening these regulations is crucial for preventing environmental crimes. Robust regulations help to minimize the risk of corruption in environmental management. Effective enforcement is vital to ensure compliance with environmental standards. Stronger regulations protect Antarctica's fragile ecosystem from exploitation and damage. Responsible tourism in Antarctica is crucial for minimizing environmental impact. It aims to preserve the pristine Antarctic environment for future generations. Sustainable practices help protect the fragile ecosystem from damage. These practices include waste management and wildlife protection. Promoting responsible tourism also helps prevent corruption in the region. Ethical tourism supports transparent and accountable operations. Technology offers innovative solutions to combat corruption. These solutions leverage advancements in areas like blockchain and artificial intelligence. Blockchain technology provides transparent and immutable record-keeping. artificial intelligence can detect patterns indicative of corrupt activities. These technology-driven approaches aim to enhance accountability and reduce opportunities for corruption. Citizen engagement in governance is crucial for a healthy democracy in India. It ensures that government policies reflect the needs and desires of the populace. Active participation helps in better implementation and monitoring of government schemes. Holding officials accountable is a key aspect of citizen engagement. This accountability fosters transparency and reduces corruption within the government. Effective investigation and prosecution are crucial in combating corruption. Strengthening law enforcement agencies is essential for this process. This involves enhancing their capacity to handle corruption cases. Ultimately, this leads to a more effective legal framework against corruption in Nigeria. Good governance is essential at all levels of Nigerian government. It serves as a crucial mechanism for preventing corruption. Effective governance enhances the delivery of public services. Promoting transparency and accountability are key components. Strengthening institutions is vital for sustainable good governance. Citizen participation ensures government responsiveness and effectiveness. International cooperation is crucial in the global fight against corruption. It facilitates the sharing of information and best practices among nations. Cooperation is essential for effectively tracing and recovering stolen assets across borders. Joint efforts enhance the capacity to investigate and prosecute transnational corruption cases. Promoting human rights and fundamental freedoms is crucial for societal well-being. Respect for human rights fosters a more just and equitable society. Upholding these rights creates an environment where corruption struggles to thrive. A culture of transparency and accountability is essential to combat corruption. Protecting freedoms of speech and assembly enables citizens to hold power accountable. Strengthening human rights mechanisms is key to preventing and addressing corruption. Ethical leadership is crucial in both government and business sectors. It establishes a foundation of trust and accountability within organizations. Promoting ethical leadership involves setting clear standards of conduct. These standards guide decision-making and behavior at all levels. A culture of integrity is fostered when ethical practices are consistently reinforced. This, in turn, enhances public confidence and organizational effectiveness. International cooperation is crucial in the fight against corruption. Strengthening this cooperation is essential to combat illicit financial flows. Enhanced collaboration can lead to more effective prevention and prosecution of corruption. This includes sharing information, resources, and best practices across borders. Transparency in government spending is crucial for preventing corruption. Increased transparency helps to minimize wasteful expenditures. Promoting transparency ensures accountability in public finance management. Open access to financial data empowers citizens to monitor government activities. Civil society organizations, CSOs, play a crucial role in Brazil's anti-corruption efforts. These organizations actively monitor governmental actions and financial transactions. CSOs work to identify and expose instances of corruption within the Brazilian system. They advocate for policy reforms aimed at increasing transparency and accountability. By empowering citizens, CSOs contribute to a more ethical and responsible government in Brazil. Effective whistleblower protection is crucial for uncovering corruption. Stronger laws are needed to encourage individuals to report wrongdoing. Whistleblower protection aims to safeguard those who report illegal activities. This protection is essential for promoting transparency and accountability. Strengthening these laws can lead to increased reporting of corruption cases. Improved whistleblower protection contributes to a more ethical and lawful society. International cooperation is crucial in the fight against corruption. Strengthening this cooperation is essential for effectively combating corruption. Illicit financial flows are often linked to corrupt activities. Addressing illicit financial flows requires coordinated international efforts. Australia emphasizes the importance of collaborative strategies to tackle these global issues. Transparency in research funding is crucial for preventing corruption. Openness helps ensure funds are used appropriately and effectively. Transparency minimizes the risk of misuse or diversion of resources. Promoting transparency builds public trust in research institutions. Clear funding practices support integrity and accountability in research. International cooperation is crucial for addressing global challenges in Antarctica. Strengthening collaborative efforts is essential to combat corruption effectively. Environmental crimes in Antarctica require coordinated international responses. Enhanced cooperation ensures the protection and sustainable management of Antarctica. Youth play a crucial role in demanding accountability from institutions. They are essential in driving change to combat corruption worldwide. Their engagement fosters transparency and integrity. Youth involvement promotes ethical governance. Their actions help build a more just and equitable society. Empowering youth is key to long-term anti-corruption efforts. Corruption is a global challenge that transcends national borders. Addressing corruption requires collective action from all nations. A united front is essential to effectively combat corruption on a global scale. International cooperation can enhance the sharing of information and resources. This collaborative approach reinforces the commitment to integrity and transparency worldwide.